The Australian Grand Prix was chaotic, and now we move to Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix. Will McLaren continue their form? Will Ferrari bounce back? Will Mercedes maybe be in contention to win the race? Or will Red Bull turn up and take the fight to McLaren? Here's what's to come for this weekend's Chinese Grand Prix. So the Chinese Grand Prix is located in Shanghai, China's biggest city in terms of population and is a global financial capital. The circuit debuted in 2004 and was designed by a man called Hermann Tilke, who has also designed many other F1 circuits, some being quite controversial, whilst others being loved by many F1 fans. The track has hosted a race every single year between 2004 and 2019. However, between 2020 and 2023, the race was suspended because of something called COVID-19, and many wondered if the circuit would ever return to the calendar. However, last year it finally did. The track is a mix of medium to high speed corners, with turn 1 being a really awkward long right-hander which keeps getting tighter and tighter and has caused many turn 1 issues over the years, causing Sebastian Vettel to give Daniel Kvyat his famous nickname, the Torpedo. The back straight is one of the longest straights on the F1 calendar at just over 1 kilometre long. It's one of 2 DRS zones on the circuit, with the other being down a pit straight. The kilometre-long back straight gives many opportunities for overtaking, as there's a massive hairpin at the end of it, which has caused a bit of drama over the years. For example, Max Verstappen going straight into the side of Sebastian Vettel in 2018. The track does also have many other overtaking opportunities, these being into turn 1 and turn 2. Turn 6 is another opportunity, and if you're lucky, you might just see some overtakes into turn 11. Thanks to the nature of the track with its medium to high speed corners, tyre wear can be quite high. So expect to see some drivers making at least 2 pit stops during the race. However, last season I think Charles Leclerc got away with doing 1 stop. But we could be in for some interesting strategies, and it could maybe be a race like Belgium last year. Let's say now Lando could make 2 pit stops, Max Verstappen makes 1. Lando tries chasing down Max Verstappen, however he's unable to get past him. It could be a really good strategic race. This weekend sees the first sprint race of the season, meaning drivers only get 1 practice session before they go into qualifying. If a driver has a bad practice session, that's going to put them on the back foot, giving them a disadvantage, meaning the rest of the race weekend will probably be quite tricky for them. At the time of recording, it's not expected to rain this weekend. Actually, I think it's going to be quite hot, meaning we probably won't see just as much chaos as we saw in Australia. However, that's not a reason to not get excited for this weekend's Grand Prix. Apparently Lando had floor damage at the end of the race, and when you have floor damage that usually costs you loads of time, which is probably why Max Verstappen was right up his gearbox towards the end. However, obviously Verstappen still couldn't pass him, which just shows how quick the McLaren is this season. Oscar Piastri is going to be looking to bounce back this weekend after he bottled an easy P2 in Australia. If he wants to be in this year's title fight, then he can't afford to be losing massive points to Lando like he did in Australia. Lando's already got a 23-point lead in the championship over his teammate. Piastri's obviously not going to want that gap to get any bigger. Do I think Piastri's even ready for a title fight? I honestly don't know still. I think we need to give him a few more races to see if he's ready yet. Piastri's a really good driver, don't get me wrong, and I think he will be a world champion in the future. But this season, is he ready? I just don't know yet. Australia definitely showed that he's still got a mistake in him. Yes, it was really tricky conditions, and he wasn't the only one to make a mistake. We even saw Lewis Hamilton spin. But to be in a championship fight, you can't be making too many mistakes like that. If you do it once over a season, yeah, fair enough, you'll probably get away with it. But say now Piastri loses the championship by over 23 points, well, then 23 points could have so easily not been lost in Australia. To be fair to Piastri, we've not seen that many mistakes from him, so I don't expect to see mistakes like that again from him, but we'll have to wait and see. Max Verstappen looked really strong in Australia. He looked like he was getting the absolute best out for Red Bull and really driving it to its limits, especially compared to his teammate Liam Lawson, who didn't really have a great weekend in Australia, and I do have my concerns for him. However, that's for another video, so subscribe to the channel for that, as that will be coming out quite soon. From what I've judged after Australia, yes, it's only been 1 race, but I think Max Verstappen is going to be the one who takes it to McLaren this season. No one else has won 5 world championships in a row since Michael Schumacher did it between 2000 and 2004, and Verstappen's definitely going to want to match that. Ferrari will be looking to bounce back this weekend. They were so poor in Australia. Honestly, yeah, I don't get how they had such a good practice 1 and 2, topping the timing sheets with Charles Leclerc, and then just completely dropping off in practice 3 and qualifying. I mean, they were nowhere compared to McLaren and Red Bull. Well, Max Verstappen at least anyway. Liam Lawson was nowhere. Even Mercedes, George Russell was so far ahead of the Ferraris. Yes, Leclerc was stuck behind Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda for most of the race. However, he should have been able to get past them, but he wasn't. I also didn't think Lewis Hamilton was that great during the Australian Grand Prix, so he's going to be wanting to bounce back this weekend, especially as a Hamilton fan. I want him to win his 8th title, and I think Ferrari is the best place for him to do it, but he needs to be a lot better than he was in Australia. He was nowhere near Leclerc. I've seen people writing Ferrari off already this season, however I don't think that's fair as it's only been one race. Remember last season McLaren weren't that great until at least a few races into the season, and obviously we all know what happened there. They went on to win the Constructors' Championship. I feel other teams are bound to have a few poor race weekends this season, so that will give Ferrari the opportunity to start to bounce back a little bit. So it is still possible for Ferrari to have a chance at winning the championships this season, that being the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship, and I think F1 just needs to calm down just a little bit. If we get 5 races into the season and Ferrari are still as poor as they were in Australia, then yeah, fair enough, write them off, they're going to be nowhere near, but give them a chance, just give them a chance. Why did I say give him a chance twice? But yeah. I thought Mercedes had a really strong weekend in Australia. Russell got a podium. Yes, that was thanks to Oscar Piastri bottling P2, but the car definitely looks a lot stronger from last season. Obviously, they've had a much better start to 2025 compared to 2024. I thought Kimi Antonelli was very impressive during the race to go from near enough last on the grid to P4 in your first ever F1 race. Not even just your first ever F1 race, your first ever wet race in F1 is absolutely extremely impressive, and I was so surprised to see him get to P4. Yes, he had a poor qualifying and damaged the car, but you're going to make mistakes as a rookie, and I've said it in previous videos. Don't be expecting Kimi Antonelli to do amazing things this season. However, he's already done that. I still think he's going to make a few more mistakes this season, but he's only going to learn from that. And to get the experience already of going from the back of the grid right to P4, not many other drivers could have done what Kimi Antonelli done in Australia over the weekend, and I am really excited to see what he can do this weekend and for the rest of the season. As I have said, it's meant to be quite warm this weekend, so it's going to be interesting to see if Mercedes have sorted out their car issues when it's quite hot during the races. Mercedes in the past have really struggled during warmer temperatures, however, if they can show that they sorted that out, then they're going to be a lot more consistent this season. And China's potentially going to show a lot more about the pecking order of this season's grid. Here's a quick hot lap of China as we go down the pit straight. This is the first DRS straight off the track, and then don't need to brake into turn 1. As you can see, it's very, very long right-hander. That just gets even longer and tighter. Turn 2 is very tricky, and then you've got to be really careful getting on the throttle as it's very low with traction. Full throttle down to turn 5. That's the first sector complete. Heavy braking. I completely missed the apex, but you can see how tricky it is. And this is the faster part of the circuit now. Up to 7th gear. Flat out through here. Let's go under the sign. And then just 2 downshifts into here, into the right-hander. And this is the trickier part of the circuit. I can never get this right. Short shift up to 4th. Full throttle on exit. And then this is one of the minor overtaking opportunities. Brake just after the 100-meter board, down to 2nd gear, short shift up to 3rd, off the throttle through here. Again, really, really tricky on traction. Get loads of oversteer there. Flat out, and now here is the kilometre-long back straight. I can't get my words out. Open up the DRS. Look at the grandstands in the distance. Watch out for your braking marker. Brake just before the 100-meter board, heavy braking down to turn 2, just hit the apex there, tricky on traction, short shift up to 4th, into 6th gear, quick little downshift into 5th, I go wide, that's going to be invalidated for track limits, open the DRS up, and there's your hot lap of China. Anyway, there's your preview for this weekend's Chinese Grand Prix. It's definitely going to be a really interesting race, and I am very excited for it. With it being the first sprint race of the season, I think it could definitely mix things up. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you all in the next one.